election night and the votes were coming in fast, I had run this incredibly strong campaign for Erie County legislator in my hometown. My family and friends and I had knocked on over 3,000 doors. We had called over 10,000 voters. This was going to be our night. And who would have thought that this kid one day could grow up and run for public office? And I had done it right. I had educated myself on the issues. I talked to voters, learned about their concerns, and laid out a clear vision for how we can improve the lives of people in our district. I had worked as hard as humanly possible to win this election. I even quit my job to run for office. And then, with 75% of the precincts reported, the news announced the winner. Duncan Kirkwood is the loser. That's how I remember hearing it. And it hurt. Right? I was angry, and I was frustrated. And over the next couple weeks, like I imagine most people would, I grew bitter. I felt cheated. And a sadness, came over me. Because this dream that I had for over a decade wasn't going to happen. Then I had a quick flash of a memory. I had seen sadness like this before. Seen people who had something that they were so connected to ripped away from them. It was during my time as a master resilience trainer in the Army National Guard. Using the positive psychology framework developed by the University of Pennsylvania, we would help soldiers build resilience and help soldiers understand that when they're separated from the military, a part of them wasn't dying. And they needed to bring their best self into this new reality. Like them, a part of me wasn't dying because I wasn't going to realize this dream. And I needed to bring my best self into my new reality. I needed to practice what I preached. In navigating life's challenges, many of us struggle with resilience and grit. And this hinders our ability to live out our dreams. It undermines our ability to have joy in our lives. How many of us have ever had a goal or a dream? We were really passionate about it, worked really, really hard, and failed. Anybody? Right. Well, we're not alone. According to a 2016 article in the Harvard Business Review, 30 to 70% of people are able to achieve their goals. Well, that's a pretty wide margin, right? And the differentiation is the individual's approach and the type of goal. So if you want to be in the 30 to 70% that achieves their goals, not the 70 to 30 that don't, then we need to radically transform how we see failure and how we look at the world around us. Here's the good news. Each one of us can build our resilience skills by taking 3 easy steps. Step number 1, we need to redefine failure. Step number 2, we need to rethink this moment. And step number 3, we need to rediscover our true self. Step 1, redefine failure. Many of us have this negative thought association with failure. We try something, it doesn't work out, we feel bad. Right? We have these negative emotions connected to adversity and setbacks. We have to fundamentally shift that mindset so we understand that we've had an experience that is part of a series of experiences that we have to have in order to be successful. It's a part of the journey. Think of a toddler learning how to walk. Right? They may fall 100 times, 1,000 times. They even hurt themselves sometimes when they fall, but they just keep going. It's as if they're unfazed by their numerous failures. Then this happens again when they're learning how to talk. And again, when they're learning how to ride a bike. It's as if children are born with a mindset that they see someone do something, it must be possible for them. But somewhere along the line, we learn failure is bad. We learn that falling is embarrassing. And when we learn those things, the number of times we're willing to fail trying to learn something decreases more and more and more. Listen, I've become a worldwide speaker and a best-selling author, and it's only possible because I lost the election. Looking back, losing that election was one of the best things that's ever happened to me. But I didn't know that while I was feeling like a loser as the last couple of votes got counted. I didn't know that when I was humiliated at this massive public defeat. See, we don't know how our story is going to turn out. We don't know what lessons we need to learn in order to get to the success that we seek. want to share one of the most powerful exercises I've ever seen. And I invite you to try this when you get home. You're going to make a list of 5 times you've experienced a setback. And when you make that list, I want you to get into the emotions of it. Remember the pain. Remember the frustration, the disappointment each time you experience that setback or that failure. Then you're going to make a line to another list where you're going to list out at least one time that that negative thing led to something positive. So maybe you learned something. Maybe you grew in some way. Maybe you got closer with your family. Whatever it is. But get into the emotions of the positive thing too. And if you do this exercise correctly, what will happen is the next time you experience a setback or failure, instead of only having negative emotions, you'll remember this list. That the last time you felt like this, something good happened. The last time you went through this, you actually grew in some way. And that will infuse a little bit of hope into your situation. And a lot of times, that hope is all we need to get through tough times. Step number 2, we got to rethink this moment. Another thing that erodes our ability to be resilient is our inability to be present. Being present means bringing your full self into a moment. Now that should be easy, because the current moment is the only moment that's real. But unfortunately, a lot of us bring our pain and our baggage from the past into this current moment. Or we'll project our joy into the imaginary future. One day I'll be happy when. One day when I accomplish this, I'll feel fulfilled. But joy can't live in the future. Peace can't live in the future. It can only live in this current moment. When we create images in our thoughts, those images can be so powerful that our mind can't tell the difference sometimes between a memory, our imagination, and what's really happening. That's why if you sit around thinking about something, sad that happened in the past, you'll get sad all over again, like it's happening right now. You sit around thinking about all the negative possibilities for the future, you'll get anxiety. You'll feel overwhelmed and afraid, as if all those situations are happening right now at this moment. We have to be present and be in the moment. Presence cuts through all the negativity. It's a special feeling. It's so special, we pay for it. Y'all didn't know that we pay for presence? Have you ever been to an amusement park? Been on a roller coaster? In those moments when you're climbing that roller coaster, you are not thinking about that breakup from 5 years ago. Right? When you're tick, 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 as you get to the apex before the inevitable fall, you are not thinking about your cell phone bill, worried about how much money is in your account. In that moment, you are totally present. You don't have to go to a theme park or do something extravagant to have feelings of presence. With practice, you can have that every day. So one great way to work on your presence is to accept what is. What I mean when I say that is, accept that your current reality is not going to magically change. So whether that's school that's overwhelming, or a job that's frustrating you in that moment, it's not going to magically change. Accept that. And then breathe. Let that tension out your body. Do it again. Breathe. Then ask yourself the tough question. How can I be great at this moment in my journey? Or what step can I take in this moment to better myself? That's how you become more present. Think of a GPS. You know how you have a GPS on your phone? It will chart you a course to your destination. But the GPS only works if you're honest about where you are. If it asks you for your current location and you put where you wish you were, if you put where you used to be, it won't work. If you put where someone else is that you're comparing yourself to, it won't work. The GPS only works if you are honest about where you are. But if you do that, it will chart you a course from anywhere you are to your goal. Then you can take a real step towards achieving that. Step number 3, you got to rediscover true self. In our journey for self-discovery, one of the most important things we have to do is to overcome our own ego. Now, I used to think ego meant like narcissism or arrogance or, cockiness, but that's not what ego means. Our ego is the part of us that tells us who we are in existence. Well, that doesn't sound that bad. The problem is our ego tells us who we are in comparison to other people and other things. And because of this, we connect our identity to things and titles and roles. We hear this all the time. I'm a Republican. I'm a Democrat. I'm an artist. I'm an educator. I'm a PhD, MSED, LMNOP, right? We connect who we are to titles. But who we are is so much more than that. Let's give this example. Let's imagine you get trapped in the forest. So you're in the forest and you're trapped for 5 years. No cell phone, no internet, no Snapchat, no kids, no siblings, no associations, no nice clothes, no fancy car, none of it. For 5 years. Do you still exist? Well, of course you do. Well, that means that none of those things, no matter how important they are, can define who you are because you can exist without them. Now, let's be clear. There's nothing wrong with nice house, nice car, nice clothes. Listen, I got a bougie wife. She loves nice things. The hair, the nails, the purse, everything. Now, just relax. My wife knows she's bougie, and she knew I would use her as an example. What I'm trying to communicate is that it's okay to have upward mobility, to want a better life situation, but don't connect who you are to your life situation. Because see, your titles can change. Your opinion can change. Your life situation can get turned upside down. But who you are is more than those things. When I lost that election, I was angry and hurt. But I had to sit down and really think. Yes, I didn't get the vote count that I wanted. I had to redefine that failure. I did learn a lot. I did grow in ways I didn't know was possible. I did network and meet new incredible people. I did get closer to my family through the process. Then I had to rethink the moment. I had to breathe and ask myself that question. How can I be great at this moment in my journey? And finally, I had to rediscover my true self. That who I am is not connected to a title. What makes me unique and special is not connected to whether I win an election or don't win an election. Who I am is more than that. Just like who you are is more. More than your life situation, more than your job, more than your kids' grades. Who you are is more. So let's imagine the next time you have a setback, the next time you have a challenge, instead of just being angry or hurt or sad like I was when I lost the election, why don't you try to use these 3 steps? You're going to redefine failure. You're going to rethink that moment and rediscover your true self. And if you do that, you'll be happier, you'll be stronger, you'll be smarter, all on your journey to success. Thank you all.